Hello, welcome to IT Expert YouTube video series. Today we are going to talk about HTML forms. What is HTML form? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is used to design web pages using a markup language. It is a combination of hypertext and markup language. HTML uses predefined tags and elements that tell the browser how to properly display the content on the screen, and form is one of them. So, in this article, we will learn what is exactly HTML form, what are the elements of forms, and how can we use HTML form in our web page. Form is a HTML element to collect input data with containing interactive controls. It provides facilities to input text, number, values, email, password, and control fields such as checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. Or in other words, form is a container that contains input elements like text, email, number, radio buttons, checkboxes, submit buttons, etc. Forms are generally used when you want to collect data from the user. For example, a user wants to buy a bag online, so he or she has to first enter their shipping address in the address form and then add their payment details in the payment form to place an order. Forms are created by placing input fields within paragraphs, pre-formatted text, lists and tables. This gives considerable flexibility in designing the layout of forms. Syntax. The form element. The HTML form element is used to create an HTML form for user input. The form element is a container for different types of input elements, such as text fields, checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. The input element. The HTML input element is the most used form element. An input element can be displayed in many ways, depending on the type attribute. Here are some examples. Type. Description. Input type. Text. Displays a single-line text input field. Input type. Radio. Displays a radio button for selecting one of many choices. Input type. Checkbox. Displays a checkbox for selecting 0 or more of many choices. Input type. Submit. Displays a submit button for submitting the form. Input type. Button. Displays a clickable button. Form elements. These are the following HTML form elements. Label. It defines label for form elements. Input. It is used to get input data from the form in various types such as text, password, email, etc. by changing its type. Button. It defines a clickable button to control other elements or execute a functionality. Select. It is used to create a drop-down list. Text area. It is used to get input long text content. Field set. It is used to draw a box around other form elements and group the related data. Legend. It defines caption for field set elements. Data list. It is used to specify pre-defined list options for input controls. Output. It displays the output of performed calculations. Option. It is used to define options in a drop-down list. Opt group. It is used to define group-related options in a drop-down list. Text box in HTML form. In an HTML form, we use the input tag by assigning type attribute value to text to input single-line input. To define type attribute, see the below syntax. Tip. The default value of the type attribute is text. Password in an HTML form. We can change type value text to password to get the input password. Example. In the above example, we can see the difference between type text and type password. The username will be visible but the password will not be visible. Radio button in an HTML form. To create a radio button, we use the input tag following by radio type to provide users to choose a limited number of choices. Syntax. Note. The radio button must have shared the same name to be treated as a group. Note. The value attribute defines the unique value associated with each radio button. The value is not shown to the user, but is the value that is sent to the server on submit to identify which radio button that was selected. Example. In this example, we will create a radio button to choose your gender. Checkbox in an HTML form. To create a checkbox in an HTML form, we use the input tag followed by the input type checkbox. It is a square box to tick to activate this. It used to choose more options at a time. Syntax. Note. The name and value attributes are used to send the checkbox data to the server. Example. In this example, we use checkboxes to select language. Como box in an HTML form. Como box is used to create a drop-down menu in your form which contains multiple options. So, to create an Como box in an HTML form, we use the select tag with option tag. It is also known as a drop-down menu. Note. The name and value attributes are used to send the Como box data to the server. Example. In this example, we will create a drop-down menu to select nationality. Submit button in an HTML form. In the HTML form, submit button is used to submit the details of the form to the form handler. A form handler is a file on the server with a script that is used to process input data. Syntax. Text area in an HTML form. In the HTML form, a text area is used to add comments or reviews, or addresses to the form. In other words, the text area is a multi-line text input control. It contains an unlimited number of characters, the text renders in a fixed width font, and the size of the text area is given by the rows and calls attributes. To create a text area in the form, use the text area tag. Syntax. Note. The name attribute is used to reference the text area data after it is sent to a server. Create an HTML form to input the basic details of a student. In this example, we will take input such as salutation, first name, last name, email, phone, gender, date of birth, and address. To create this form, we need to use the legend tag to define caption, select tag for salutation, option tag to define elements of salutation, input tag for first name, last name, email, phone, date of birth by changing input tag type attribute, text area to input address, radio button for gender. After defining all these stuffs, we will use a button to submit this form data. Frequently asked questions. What is the difference between tags and elements in HTML? In a simple sense, HTML elements are the content between the tags, whereas tags are keywords placed at the beginning and end of an HTML element. What are attributes and how to use them? HTML uses two components, namely tags and the content that follows them. Every tag has a special thing called attributes that are kept within the opening and closing less than greater than. Attributes will be right after the name of the tag. Describe HTML layout structure. Every web page has different components to display the intended content and a specific UI. But still, there are few things which are templated and are globally accepted way to structure the web page, such as header. Stores the starting information about the web page. Footer. Represents the last section of the page. Nav. The navigation menu of the HTML page. Article. It is a set of information. Section. It is used inside the article block to define the basic structure of a page. Aside. Sidebar content of the page. How to optimize website assets loading. To optimize website load time, we need to optimize its asset loading, and for that, CDN hosting. A CDN or content delivery network is geographically distributed servers to help reduce latency. File compression. This is a method that helps to reduce the size of an asset to reduce the data transfer. File concatenation. This reduces the number of HTTP calls. Minify scripts. This reduces the overall file size of JS and CSS files. Parallel downloads. Hosting assets in multiple subdomains can help to bypass the download limit of 6 assets per domain of all modern browsers. This can be configured, but most general users never modify these settings. Lazy loading. Instead of loading all the assets at once, the non-critical assets can be loaded on a need basis. What are the various formatting tags in HTML? HTML has various formatting tags. B. Makes text bold. I. Makes text italic. M. Makes text italic but with added semantics importance. Big. Increases the font size of the text by 1 unit. Small. Decreases the font size of the text by 1 unit. Sub. Makes the text a subscript. Sup. Makes the text a superscript. Del. Displays a strikeout text. Strong. Marks the text as important. Mark. Highlights the text. Ins. Displays as added text. What is the difference between strong, B tags and M, I tags? The effect on a normal web page of the tags strong, B and M, I is the same. B and I tag stands for bold and italic. These two tags only apply font styling, and bold tag B just adds more ink to the text. These tags do not say anything about the text. Whereas, strong and M tags represent that the span of text is of strong importance or more importance and emphatic stress respectively than the rest of the text. These tags have semantic meaning. In how many ways can we position an HTML element? Or what are the permissible values of the position attribute? There are mainly 7 values of position attribute that can be used to position an HTML element. Static. Default value. Here the element is positioned according to the normal flow of the document. Absolute. Here the element is positioned relative to its parent element. The final position is determined by the values of left, right, top, bottom. Fixed. This is similar to absolute, except here the elements are positioned relative to the HTML element. Relative. Here the element is positioned according to the normal flow of the document and positioned relative to its original or normal position. Initial. This resets the property to its default value. Inherit. Here the element inherits or takes the property of its parent. What is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML refers to optimal usage of the language to create or design a website. Besides offering an aesthetic appeal, semantics are meant to introduce meaning to the contents added to the page. Meaning that semantic HTML tells the browser the meaning of enclosed content, apart from the design. Example of semantic HTML. Header. Article. H1. H2. Etc. With semantic HTML, search engines earn the ability to determine the content as well as the significance of the content loaded on the page. In a nutshell, semantic HTML is a style of coding and is achieved through HTML markup. What is the hierarchy followed when it comes to style sheets? The features in HTML5 that have garnered maximum attention includes video and audio. Following the digital trend, HTML5 has introduced both a video and an audio tag. As a result, it makes it easier for web developers to integrate visual content dynamically. Nav. Introduced to help link different pages on a website. Nav. Canvas. To draw and create visual content or embed graphics easily. Canvas. Footer. Add new elements in the footer section. In general, it helps add copyright information at the end of the document footer. What is the purpose of a style sheet? Style sheets help design the layout of the page. It is the combination of different style rules that indicate how and where will the content be displayed on the web page. The rules are applicable either to all of the elements or specific ones based on your requirements. One thing to note is that style sheets override the existing style. Meaning that if you have the page previously styled, style sheets will override them and the new rules apply. Thank you for watching this video. We provide hands-on training with labs, homework, group projects. Prepare you for the certification. Provide real projects. Internship opportunities. Support you in Resume LinkedIn. Staffing support. Provide tech references. In-person online class. Class retake options and more. Call us at 847-350-9034 for your free career consultation meeting. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for the latest videos.